Welcome back to Behind the Vocals. This week we are joined by the one and only Clint Gee of Smearing. It's an amazing episode where we talk about all things from Nashville nostalgia, playing shows back in the day, as well as vocals, lyrics, all kinds of stuff, thoughts on the music industry in 2025, and much, much more. So without further ado, let's get into the episode. All right, we are joined by the one and only Mr. Clintus Von Braun G over here. Sir, how are you doing?
I'm doing wonderful. I think
Von Braun, bro.
Some family names that I'm not aware of, but did you do a genealogy?
I did 23andMe, but 23andU instead.
23andG?
Yeah, 23andG. Yeah, I looked it up because I need to know all these things. But no, Clint, the man, the myth, the legend, he has been referenced on this show before. Dude, you're like my comparison to, I don't know if you'll like this or not. You're probably going to be like, you're an asshole. But you're my comparison, like, when you meet certain people in bands, there's like, not like a golden retriever, but there's like the dudes that are like, they're so sick on stage, but then when you meet them, they're like just the homie band guys. You know what I mean? Like friendly, they're bubbly, they're like charismatic, like, yeah, dude, what's up, man? And just so happy to be there and happy to like be hanging out and throwing down with people. And you're just always a pleasure to be around. Like, I don't know that I ever saw you like just pissed off at the world. If you were pissed off on stage, which made the show better, but around like everybody, you know, you were always...
Everybody needs a vibe, dude. So if I can just be the vibe, it's fine. You know, there's no reason to be having a bad time when you're doing something fun. Like, playing music's supposed to be fun. If you're with the homies, you're doing a show, whatever it is, you should just be trying to have a good time. And I get some people just aren't that way, but that's why you got to have the balance in the bands, you know? Like, you got to have the antisocial one who just like is a dork who doesn't want to talk to anybody except talking shit, like playing video games or something.
Yeah.
So that's why I always end up being the merch dude.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's kind of like the unspoken vocalist rule too, is it not? Like, we always end up being the merch person, usually.
Dude, no, I've met so many vocalists that are just like trash, that don't want to do that stuff at all, dude. So they don't carry stuff in.
Okay, dude, I was literally about to hot take. I was going to say, do you carry stuff in? Do you help load in and load out?
Dude, they don't load in. They don't they load in or load out. They don't drive. They don't, they don't book the shows. They're just kind of just the face up there with the mic, and then they go do whatever. That's just never been my style. I like to be very like involved in all the things that you're doing, you know.
I don't think I would do well. I'm very hands-on, and I was always kind of thrust in the role like, hey, handle this, and we're just going to come to you and ask you like what's happening most time. And I'll be like, all right, sweet.
They call that now that we're older and have careers, they call that being a project manager.
Okay, well, I project manage the shit out of the bands. Probably not a good thing. Not saying I was great at it, but you know, somehow I got put in the role, so shit at least got done.
Homie, you got more Spotify plays than me. Come on, you're doing great.
I'm lucky, just getting lucky. But dude, man, it's been forever. We were talking before we started recording. It's been at least 10 years since I've seen you, and we've chatted here and there, but we haven't got to like have a full conversation. And damn, I'm trying to think of the last show we played together. We used to play frequently.
It's coming up on like, I don't know, like 15, 20 years ago at least. I don't know. It's been a while. Like, cause
2012, I want to say, is when my old band stopped, roughly. Something like that?
I moved out of Nashville like 10 years ago. So I've pretty much been on the West Coast in Seattle ever since. So, you know, I've been back to visit a couple times and stuff. I was able to like go to one show. It was like some big outdoor fest they did. I think it was like pre-Furnace Fest a few years ago, where like Terror and a bunch of bands played outside. So that was fun because I just showed up and it was like, oh, all the old homies are here, because like a bunch of old bands were playing, you know?
Yeah.
So that was cool. So yeah, but I ran into like Sam Schneider who's like a big streamer dude now.
Yeah.
And I just remember playing
Slam
like,
Dance now.
Yeah, dude. Yeah. And I was just like, oh yeah, like you're so cool on the internet. And we used to play to like each other's bands.
Yes.
In like empty ass shows.
Dude, God, the memories. There was something about that era of Nashville. Like, I know we've went down there. I'm sure we'll go down like nostalgia here too, but dude, that era was so much fun. There's so many great bands that just were
so many
homies.
good bands. And it was that weird time too, where it was like MySpace was still around, Instagram hadn't really kicked off yet.
Yep.
The streaming thing was kind of like on its way up, you know. So there was just a lot of like variables where sadly, you know, a lot of bands from that that era, just in general, not even just from Nashville, get kind of lost.
Yeah.
Just because, you know, like MySpace goes down, people stop using it. I remember a few years ago they announced they like accidentally lost a bunch of data that was on there, so like everybody's high school band was just gone. You know, like,
is there a way to find the old MySpace stuff?
Dude, I'm sure. Like, I think you can still find some of our bands, because when that happened like a few years ago, I just got curious and just Googled like band names MySpace, and some of them would pop up. So
God,
I don't know.
I would
If you
love
want
to
to
go
hear
back and look. I just want to see who our top was it top 8? Is that what we
who
had?
was in our top 8,
I'm curious. I don't even know what we did back then.
would it like cause beef now if you like look back
Nah.
and your band wasn't in my top 8? Would you be like, what the fuck, dude? Like
No.
clout
We
chaser?
we didn't earn our spot in your top 8.
Oh, dude, you for sure did. No,
Yeah.
because dude, I loved your band because I would even when I was like booking shows and stuff at the Muse, I would always like throw you guys on like
You
cool
took
shows.
care of us. So, I do have one story thinking about it. Or I said you're never angry. There was one you weren't angry, but you were stressed out. I think it was the only time I saw you stressed. Do you know what show I'm talking about right away?
No, I mean, but
It was a big show, and you were the promoter. And I want to say we had to do a battle of the bands to get there. I think.
Dude, okay, no, I know exactly what you're talking about now, and this we can leave out some details just because some people are involved and whatever. I mean, the venue's been closed for a long time, so. If anybody from Nashville remembers the Muse, of course, it's like legendary. It's now a Domino's Pizza or something, I think.
Yeah, it
but
is.
It was like,
it's so sad.
I like to describe it to people as like just how lawless it was back then, because it was just a big, like, it was a no joke 200 cap room that they said 350 was the capacity, and it sure wasn't. I like booked shows there, like bigger bands where I had to do like contracts and stuff, and it was all lies. But we were just trying to make money and get people in and whatever. But at most shows, you know, if there's a fight that happens that breaks out, which often happens at aggressive music shows, whoever's involved in the fight, win or lose, you get kicked out, right?
Yeah.
At the Muse, the fight would just spill outside, and then whoever won would just run back in and mosh harder. Yeah. And that's just how that shit went. So when you're raised in an environment like that, you, I guess you become immune to like those stressful situations and just kind of learn to, I don't know, like survival of the fittest almost. It's like a weird form of evolution, which is like almost de-evolution in a way. But still very fun times. But I remember exactly what you're talking about. Let's just say I was the only person who wasn't on drugs that was working at this venue for a long time. I somehow got college credit for working at the Muse, which is like, because, you know, like we went to, because we were all in school for like, you know, like music business and like, you know, recording engineering and all this stuff. All my homies had internships at like BMI and, you know, like Nashville.
I didn't know you had an internship with them.
Brother. So I did like 1 week of an internship at BMI. I hated it so much because like they didn't refer to music as, it was like a commodity. They referred to it as like selling Coke, like Coca-Cola, you know?
Yeah.
They were just like, yeah, how many units can you sell? And I was like, I like art, you know? So dropped out of that really quick. Was able to make the Muse look nice enough on paper that I was like, yo, I'm their in-house booker there now. When really I was booking shows at a computer and selling beer behind the bar and sometimes being the door guy, you know, and just like making sure shit didn't go wrong. The security guards were just like guys that were around.
I was about to say, they had, I mean, I remember 1 or 2 bouncers, but I don't really remember security. Like, ever.
Those were our security guards. They were just guys. And then most of the time I would just like, you know, just tip them out at the end of the night from like whatever cash you made. So pretty punk rock place to be in. But yeah, I remember it was All Shall Perish, Carnifex, you know, like big
Who
tour,
was the
like,
third band? That has bugged me for years. I cannot, it wasn't Rose Funeral, right? It was,
it might
another
have been
touring pack. Like there was a third touring band, was there not? It was super heavy.
I mean, it was like, but somebody in that era, like they were all on like somebody on like Sumerian Records or something like that, right? But anyways, big show, super sold out. And there was just some drama, I guess, with like the people working. And I'm like a 21-year-old kid. Like, I don't know what the fuck's going on. Okay. Am I allowed to cuss on here? Hope so.
Yeah, dude. Yeah.
Cool. I'm fucking gonna. But yeah, I just remember there was like some drama going on, yada, yada. And then All Shall Perish, the headliner's ready to go on. The house lights are still on, which by house lights, I mean just the halogen lights that are above this painted black room, you know, like we're trying to look official, but it's really terrible. And sound guys nowhere to be found. Luckily, I'd worked sound there enough, like a few times that I knew kind of the lights. Everybody's freaking out, and I just hear, you know, somebody yelling, like the singer's like, we're ready to go. Where the fuck are you? And like, there's a crowd of people, and I'm like, oh shit. So I run up there. There's nobody at the sound booth. I'm going, and I'm trying to figure out how to turn the lights off without turning the sound off. So they do the first song with the house lights on, and it's just chaos. And then I just remember the second that I hit the right switch and it went off, the mosh pit just went like, But no, that was a super stressful night because like, dude, like money was weird.
I remember the money part.
Agent, dude,
I remember you were talking to the I guess their tour manager.
Yeah,
and so they were just like, "Where's our money?" And you were like, "I'm fucking trying to find it. Like,
yeah,
I'm working."
A bunch of the money that I had put in an account went somewhere else for some reason, and that's probably my fault, right? I should have been, but I was like their in-house booker, so I was like, cool, this is the money for this show. I had to like take money from the bar sales, and then the bartender got pissed off at me. He was like, you know, like, you're not taking my money. I was like, dude, we have to, like, I'm gonna get you paid out, don't worry. Like, you know, everybody's mad, freaking out, and then this, you know, the tour manager's like, I'm never booking with you again. And I was like, okay, you know, because I'm just like, I'm a kid, you know, I'm like 21 years old, I don't know what the hell's going on. But ended up working it out, taking a bunch of cash from the bar, doing whatever. Everybody's mad at me for like 2 weeks, and then it blows over. It's fine.
I remember,
like, it was that, I remember I got that email. It was like, you'll never work in this town again, sweetheart, kind of deal. But like, I'm still here.
Still working. Joke's on you.
Yeah, don't ever let anybody tell you no. You can find a way.
There was a lot of crazy fights that night too. I remember, I think it was like midway through Carnifex, maybe, or near the end, like going in All Shall Perish. I remember I was back doing merch because we opened. We were like one of the opening bands. That was what I think that's what the Battle of Bands was for, is to like open the gig, right?
Yeah, I was basically just like trying to find a way to fill a night. And then I was like, cool, I can get this night and do like a battle of the bands with a bunch of sick local bands. And that was also fucked up. I can talk about how bad I feel just learning how to be a promoter and stuff the right way. I feel like doing stuff like that is really cheesy, but you got a cool gig out of it. So who cares, right?
Yeah. We were just like, sick, we have a chance. We're playing another gig. Because I mean, hell, we played the Muse probably too much. But I will say this, the Muse had a lot of issues and it was pretty sketchy, pretty rough, but I swear that was like my home venue. Like, I felt more comfortable in that environment than probably any other venue.
Oh, it was the best, right? Yeah. I mean, we only had in Nashville, we only had there in Rocketown, and Rocketown, obviously Christian funded, things like that. They did really great shows for a long time, and then after a while, they kind of just cracked down on things.
Yeah.
And then
you played Rocketown though, right?
Oh, we played Rocketown a ton.
Did you? How was the sound for you at Rocketown?
It was always great, dude. Like, it was always great for us.
The sound guy was, well, yeah.
Well, I mean, it just depends because they always had kids doing like volunteer kind of staff, you know.
He hated us, like, I think.
Kids. It's possible.
Every time we would get up there, no matter what it was, we're like, hey, can we get more kick over here? Can we get this? And be like, thumbs up, and then nothing changed. I'm like, sweet, whatever. Let's just go for it. And of course, the rest of the band's pissed off because they're like, I'm just going to yell. Like, it's fine. We'll just do the shit.
But I mean, dude, like, I don't know. You have to take it with like a grain of salt and understand where you're at. You're like a local band playing you know, a 12-band fest or something. Yeah. It's like, they're not all there to see you. You just got to do your thing. And it's like, we've definitely played worse venues than that.
Oh,
like, I
for
know,
sure.
You know, like with like no sound, no whatever. So
yeah,
that's why you just got to get really good with like your stage volume and just get tight with your band.
Yeah. I mean, Muse is just something to be said about the sound guy. Like, it didn't matter the show. I'd always be like, hey, our drummer needs this or whatever. And he'd be like, sweet. And he's back here just doing stuff. And and it always sounded stupid out there, like in the crowd. Like, it was always heavy as shit. And
yeah, I won't say names, but
no, I'm avoiding the name.
For as crazy as everybody that worked there was, and, you know, was just not, you know, sober enough. They were passionate about heavy music, which I always found to be very refreshing. So at the end of the day, everyone was stoked, you know, and like, hey, better than making sandwiches, right? Like,
oh yeah,
for sure.
I'll never forget, like, when I was first like cutting my teeth in there, I reached out to the owner. We're not saying names, and I was trying to get on a show, and he was like, yeah, for sure. Can you do X amount of tickets, you know, whatever? And I was like, yeah, we can promote, we can do stuff. And he sent it to me, and then I reached out because we did well. I reached out about another show, and then he ended up somehow just giving me his booking link, his calendar or something. Do you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
It's like literally, and it would have like shows before they were announced, like as he would get like tour packages. And so I just had his calendar, and I was like, am I supposed to have this? But I'm like, I'm going to fucking use it. Because I would see like, oh, such and such bands are coming through. So I'd be like, yo, can we get on this? We can sell, because I kind of knew what he wanted ticket-wise. Usually like bigger shows, he'd want this amount. And he'd be like, yeah, you're on. I'm just, everyone's like,
I mean, dude, that's when you know you're a good local band, is when they just share their calendar with you. You probably didn't have editing access, right?
No. I just saw when he would put when the tour packages would come through, and he would like October 15th, you know, Oceano and whoever, whatever coming
Well,
through.
dude, I mean, because when you're booking an entire, you're trying to book as many dates as possible, right? So
Right.
you're trying to fill 30 shows a month, right? If you can. That's not feasible, especially when there's one, two, maybe three people booking shows there, plus like an occasional outside promoter. So even when I was doing that, I would like good bands that I knew were like local that I would be friends with. I would share that same link with them. So like, you know, like a Dissect a Coroner or something, like, yo, if you guys see anything you guys want, let me know. And like that way I know like the show's not going to suck.
Yeah.
You know, like there'll at least be 20 people there.
Yeah.
You know, so.
Which we always had a great relationship with him. We were honest. We were on time. You know, we try to like handle everything the right way with him. We didn't like ask for anything. You know, if we got paid, we got paid. If not, cool. We were just happy to be there.
That's just what it's like being in a local band, though.
Yeah.
Man. You know, like I think
he took care of us. They all took care of us there. Like, you know, it was always...
Oh, dude, for sure. But it's like I just think that's like I don't know. Because I still play shows. I still go out and do like merch for my friends, like, you know, like punk rock shit, like grindcore shows, all ages, hardcore, whatever. And I just think that like the internet and heavy music getting so like popular, I think bands oftentimes expect now they're just like, oh, we play a show, we get this. And it's like, not really, man. It's just like anything else. You got to be the intern. You got to like, you got to eat
pay
shit
your dues.
for until you, yeah, dude, like straight up. Like I'm even in a newer band now and I've been playing shows for, you know, whatever. And I was like in bands up here and stuff. I'm in a newer band. So you'd think it was like, oh, cool, I'm in. No, I just know the promoter. That doesn't mean they're going to give you good shows right away. Yeah. You know? So it's like, I've still like venues that I played a million times that they kind of let me do whatever I want there. I was like, yo, let me get on this show. And they're like, this band's going to do this. Can you guys play this show though? And that's basically them asking, hey, can you play this show that we know is not going to be great, but like you kind of do us a favor. We'll kind of do you a favor later. Like just kind of the way it works, you know? Yeah. We have to go back to the barter system somehow in society. And I think music is one of the only things that, I don't know, it is dirty and gross and impure as it is. I feel like it teaches you a lot of lessons of like how to conduct yourself and how to, you know, start from the bottom and kind of build something up.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. Dude, it's I've heard Adam from Orthodox talk about like he probably shouldn't have been going to shows there at the age he was going there because he was like, God, early teens probably.
Oh, for sure.
And he's like, you know, I would tell him I'm going to Rocketown and I would go there. He's like, people are getting like beat up and stabbed. And, like, it's just rough. Kind of like you said, like people are getting kicked out. Like they fight and they come back in.
I've seen a dude get stabbed there before.
Like, it was for sure. Like it was definitely not the safest venue, but also like I feel like as time went on, like we knew I was never really scared about anything there.
No, like, it's one of those things. Once you're in, it's kind of self-governed, right? Like, I remember like one of the first shows that we played there. I had long hair and stuff, you know, so it was like obviously targeted by all like the hard moshers. But then once they saw that, oh, like this kid can mosh too, and he's cool, and he shows up to all the shows, it's like they were eventually just like, yeah, we're not going to swing at that kid, you know, like, and eventually just once they kind of those people see you around enough, they're like, oh, he's one of us, one of the crew.
And not they take care of their own.
Crew, but yeah, but then, you know, then some poor kid shows up looking like, I don't know, like with like raccoon hair, and everybody's like, you're going to die tonight. Like, which is unfair, but also like somebody's got to tell somebody to get a haircut, you know?
Yeah,
so
it happens. Dude, man, such good times back then. God, the Muse was a golden era. There were so many great shows there.
Dude, 100%. I've seen like crazy shows there. Especially just like, I don't know, booking there and like not only just the style of metal that we were into, you know, but like just cool punk shows. Like the amount of bands that I was able to book that are like legendary for like $250 is insane to me. Like
that's wild.
Like I still have some posters hanging up here of just like, you know, just crazy shows. Like there's like a legendary grindcore band called Phobia, and like I booked them, and it's like that's crazy now, you know, to like think that they played Nashville for like $250, and the dude even like turned away money. I was like, hey, I would give him more. He was like, no, we only played for like 15 minutes because our guitar player like had to go to the hospital yesterday, so you keep the $50. I was like, okay,
damn.
I wasn't gonna turn it down. Yeah, but dude, shit like that, like I don't know, like Hank Williams III was like randomly there at like he was like showed up at like a Psyopus show one night, and then like picked up an acoustic guitar and just played a bunch of his songs on the floor with all these drunk people. I was like, this is crazy, dude. Like,
dude, some of the most fun shows, like you're talking about how the Cap, obviously, like they definitely pushed that and exceeded that.
I mean,
More
most
times than
venues.
not. And those shows would be nuts. Like that many people moshing, just getting, yeah, it was, those are fun. Like those are wild. But also like the local band shows are always so much fun when it's like all the homies are around, like supporting each other. And like, God, those are so much fun.
Oh, for sure.
Always
Yeah.
love those.
That's what it was about. Yeah, it was a fun time. Yeah, there's a lot of cool bands from there, and like a bunch of kids have gone on to do like cool things. Like you just mentioned, like Adam from Orthodox, right? Yeah, that kid was like, I remember one of his old bands opened up for mine, which is like funny to say now, but it was like Christian metalcore, just like everybody else, right? And he was like 15 years old, and then now he's up there just like fucking playing to thousands of people. It's like, that rocks, dude. Like I still go see them whenever they come through Seattle. Like they rock.
It's
Big
crazy.
fan.
I'm so happy. Like bands for me, like from our era, Orthodox, which Orthodox I think was just starting kind of when we were ending. Like we never got to play with Orthodox. Gideon, I remember being around them, coming from like Alabama and them just playing everywhere. Era, we played with Era. Actually,
Dude, I just saw Era like a few weeks ago.
Dude.
Like I was in a brief high school band with the drummer from that band, and I was
was
just like,
Alex?
yeah,
Oh shit,
dude, you'd be surprised about like how many like quick bands or like we made demos with bands, and now all those kids are like famous, and I'm still just here, but I'm chilling.
You're famous. You've always been famous to me.
Yeah.
Dude, don't lie. No, dude, I'm so proud of those bands for just staying the course because I'm like, I remember them grinding. I remember them hustling. And here they are, 15 years later, and they're touring the world still and like killing it.
Yeah.
I'm like, hell yes. I'm so happy for those dudes. Like,
Dude,
you
for sure.
deserve
I mean,
it.
that shit takes a lot of sacrifice, you know. It's like,
yeah.
'cause think about how many bands there are, and then like the one that makes it out. And that's what like drives me crazy is everybody like the second a band gets bigger, like, oh, they suck now. They're not really. It's like, dude, are you kidding me? They grinded so hard for so long. Like Orthodox got big, like, you know, like really big in the last like few years, right? That band's been around forever. Like I remember seeing them like slightly different lineup, you know, but it's still like the same like Adam and like just pushing, you know. But it takes years of dedication, and like a lot of people just don't have that. You know, so I will never talk shit on those bands that get big. Like even if I don't like the music as much, like newer music, which not the case with like Orthodox and a bunch of other bands like that. But you know, like bands change over time. You know, they get poppier, they tend to, right? But dude, like I'll never knock that hustle because that's something that like most people just don't have in them. You know, like they'll sleep on floors and eat shit for 10 years to get to that stage where they're like, you know, a top line at Furnace Fest or something, you know?
Dude, it's crazy.
Which is dope.
What about Blake Hartman, dude? He's been a journeyman.
Oh, dude, yeah, I've seen that dude in so many bands.
He is, I swear, it's like every big band, he's somehow, it's like he levels up. He just keeps going. I'm like, this dude is hustling. I respect it.
I mean, that's just kind of the grind, though. It's like once you're in, like, you know, bigger touring bands, you'll eventually get sucked up to like work on their crew, or like if you just make yourself available to tour and like you have the capability to do so. Yeah. Like that's when they say whatever, like that person's like lucky. It's like, no, they had an opportunity and they had the talent and the ability to back it up. So that's all it is.
Hell yeah.
Be prepared.
Be prepared. I love it.
Follow your dreams.
Now we're going motivational.
Yeah.
We were talking off before we get into the questions. We were talking before this about Danza, man. I'm so happy to see them back.
Dude, for sure. I'm like super big Danza fan. I love those dudes.
I feel like one of the shows we played with Castle, one of your earlier bands, was with Danza. I actually, Jesse was on recently, and I sent him. We were trying to remember the place in Murfreesboro we played. It was a February show because I remember it was cold as balls. And I found the flyer somehow. Dude, I have like an old, not scrapbook. I'm not that old. I'm old, but not that old. But I have like some other flyers like saved in like a little notebook. And it was, oh God, now I can't remember what it's called. Maine something?
Oh, like 527 Maine or something like that?
That was it. Because he was trying to tell me it was like Inferno. And I was like, no, that doesn't sound right. And I sent it to him. He was like, holy shit, I forgot about this show. And I was like, yeah. He was like, oh my God, dude, that's so sick. And I'm pretty sure Josh played drums that show because the drummer was sick.
That was around that time. Yeah.
Something happened.
I do remember. I remember most of that show. I remember me and me and Jesse got really drunk. All kind of.
I remember. So Dissect was there. Dissect played it. So I was about to say your guitarist, Brent, but he was in Dissect then. I remember us doing shots with Brent.
Mm-hmm.
I think it was his birthday, possibly.
Probably, yeah. I do like. I used to run. Wait, I used to be a big partier, man. Like
It was. I remember that show was chaos and just wild, from start to finish. But that's when I was with TJ and them. I was in Resurrect.
Oh yeah, dude, fun times. I guarantee I've got like a poster somewhere. I've got seriously like 2 or 3 poster tubes just filled. I was always that dude just grabbing the flyer at the end of the night, and I'm like glad I did, just because I've got so many cool old school flyers that like you would never think happened.
Good memories. I still have some around. Like I told you, I had the notebook, but I still have like some of the stuff on my wall, like old band things from back in the day. Reliving.
Take down that Wolf Band and put up a Danza poster. Come on, what
Dude,
are you doing?
I need to. I'm slacking. I'm failing. I'm failing at life. But no, I'm stoked Danza's back. I'm glad to see them on Furnace Fest, and everything I saw, they crushed it. So I can't.
Yeah,
wait.
for sure. I couldn't make it out, but yeah, dude, super proud of those guys. Stoked for like new stuff that they're gonna do.
I can't wait. It's gonna be good. All right. We have been talking for like 20-something minutes. So what I like to do to start the episode, because we clearly haven't started, half an hour ago. But what I like to do is just kind of let you introduce yourself. So you have
now that we've talked for 30 minutes?
Yeah, now that we talked for 30 minutes, who are you? Tell us the details.
Everybody's already turned this off. They're like, this idiot, I can't deal with it. So what's up? I'm Clint Gee. I've been a vocalist in a lot of metal bands that you've probably never heard of unless you're from the region. But it's cool. I've been doing it mostly on, a little bit off for a super long time, doing a bunch of stuff. Obviously, like we just said, I used to book shows in Nashville. I live here in Seattle now. I've got a current job in the beer industry, so I end up working a lot of festivals, things like that. So I'm always just around music all the time. A bunch of my friends are still like touring musicians. I still play in some bands up here, try to put out at least a record a year. It's going pretty well. I just put out my second, I guess, EP of the year, which is cool.
Hell yeah.
So yeah, just staying busy, still screaming after all these years.
Dude, how long have you been doing vocals?
I think my first band was probably like not like a real band, but band playing in front of people was like a high school band when I was 16. We were a punk band, which, at the time was pop punk basically. But, I remember doing like a Sex Pistols cover or something, like thinking we were cool, but we were in like Alabama, like we weren't exactly ahead of the times out there, but yeah, I started doing that when I was like 16. I did choir and stuff in high school because I figured out that they wouldn't make me go to gym and do all that stuff. So my elective was singing with all like the weird theater kids. So I ended up doing a lot of like musical theater stuff. So I was on like the stage crew for 42nd Street. I was in West Side Story, just dancing and doing all that stuff. And then eventually I found out, well, because I always was into, heavier stuff ever since I was younger, but it's kept getting heavier and heavier. I eventually learned how to scream. And then I think my first like real band that I was actually like playing shows in was probably the Castle is a Tomb in like 2008, probably was when that started, 2008, 2009, something like that. So that was the first like real heavy band that I was in.
Y'all were in college, right? Were you still at?
We were Middle Tennessee State University. Go Blue Raiders.
Thought so. I feel like when I met you, all of you guys were like in school, like
totally, dude. It was a cool little scene there. It was like
your drummer was massive.
Oh yeah, dude. Justin was a giant.
I just remember he like sat down the first time. He had like a jug of water and sat down. I was like, this dude's about to just like throw the whole drum set at us. Like he was beating the shit out of the drums. And he was just like back there, huge. It's like,
dude, I'm surprised he could play drums with how big his arms were. It was just whack-a-mole.
He was a big dude.
But yeah, no, it was cool because we all met because we were all going to school for music in some sense, right? The school thought it would be a good idea to stick all of the musician kids, not like band geeks, people like that, like not music theory people, but the people who are all like in the outskirts of music and music business and production on the same floor together. And they're like, nothing's going to happen. Like, dude, we destroyed that floor. So many of those dudes have gone on to do cool things. Like my roommate at one point was, you ever heard that band Cherub?
Yeah.
They're like, like one of those dudes was my roommate. The other dude was James's roommate, who was, my guitar player in Castle's a Tomb, like one of my best friends for a super long time. yeah, dude, Tyler that we know does a lot of like touring production and like drum teching for a lot of like huge country bands now. You know, like one of our friends has done like lights for The Cure and things like that. So
That's
yeah, it
wild.
was like a cool spot to be in. And then like half of us got kicked out for, you know, drinking and, you know, smoking weed and whatever, which was a great idea on their part for sure. But then we all got houses, and then we all started playing house shows in Murfreesboro at like, you know, all of our houses, which was uh pretty fucking wild. Like
I bet.
you can imagine just college house parties, but and then all of a sudden it'd be like, oh, our friends are gonna come play, and then we'd just be the death metal band on the bill. I guess deathcore, whatever the hell you want to call it. But either way, like, you know, just holes getting punched in walls and whatever. So that was a fun scene to grow up in for sure. I do remember like even like Dissect the Coroner, like that other local band, we had a beer pong table that we kept at their place with their logo spray painted on one side and ours on the other. So it was just constant nonsense of just
They
listening.
weren't they up there too?
Yeah, it's like they had an apartment like right down the street from us, so we
twins?
would just, yeah, we would go all
Oh
go
my
party over there and stuff. Crazy times, dude.
Good times. Good
But
times.
yeah, we all met out there and then started playing a bunch of shows. Then from there, I started working at the Muse in Nashville, stuff like that, and yeah, ended up playing in a bunch of bands. Yeah, good time.
So I think you missed your true calling though. I got to call you out. There was a show. I don't remember what show. I'm not even gonna try to like remember. But you were, I don't know what we were doing. It must have been just a local only show because all of us were like dicking around really hard. But you got up there and started singing Garth Brooks, and you were
Oh,
like going to town on the Muse. You were like sending it.
dude. I'm a karaoke fiend, dude.
Did
Well,
you
yeah,
were
so I,
because we were like, damn, Clint, okay,
brother, I grew up in Florida and Alabama, and I learned music from it, like being in the backseat and listening to 90s country. Like I've got a Garth Brooks tattoo. I mean, he's wearing corpse paint, but it's still Garth Brooks. Um, yeah, dude, I love Garth Brooks, and I know that the whole thing about he's a serial killer now, which makes it the pipeline from Garth Brooks to death metal even more clear. Where are the bodies, Garth?
That's dude. I was. Is there truth to this? Did we believe in it? Conspiracy time.
I don't know. He's got dead eyes, and famous people are really weird.
I mean, the line like saying that every place he plays so many places, there's missing people all over. So that's a little hard to believe, but I mean, there could be water to it. I mean,
Dude, you never know. I
he's
mean,
got
it's
enough
harder
money.
to get
He
away
can
with things.
bear like, yeah.
Yeah, I don't want the Epstein files. I want the Brooks files. Where are they at?
What if they come out? There's like his body count's unreal.
I would expect the hardest album of all time after that.
Oh, how's he gonna write it?
In jail, dude. Come on. He's like, dude, they'll give you an acoustic
Chris
guitar in jail.
Chris
Come on.
Gaines is gonna bring it
Yeah,
back.
dude, it's Chris Gaines. Yeah.
God,
But yeah, no, dude, I love country music, and I know people probably think that's weird, but I think over time, you do see that kind of metal or like aggressive music to country pipeline. Because think about like even a lot of the bigger folk or country artists now, they all have some kind of tie to like, hey, I used to be in a punk band when I was a teenager or whatever it is. There's like one dude that I like a lot, Willie Carlisle, who's kind of just like a folk singer but incredible, but he does interviews and stuff, and he's wearing like the sickest death metal shirts, but he's like a super nice dude, plays just like banjo, cowbones, all this crazy stuff, but he's wearing like a Vastum shirt. Like I'm like, that's so hard.
There's so many people that move from metal to country and all. Like, obviously, it
Dude,
pays
it's like
better and stuff, but
Oh, I mean, dude, 100%. I mean, if you can get death metal doesn't exactly get the booty shaken, you know what I'm saying?
yeah,
Yeah. If you can get a solid female audience that likes to dance, the dudes will come too.
Yeah.
So it's like that's just how it goes. But yeah, man, I love country, and there's a lot of similarities in the musicianship as far as like you'll see a lot of people that are super stoked on metal that are incredible players. They'll end up being session players for
yes,
country artists. Like I've got a couple friends, like a band that I was playing in up here for a long time. One of the dudes is super talented. He's like a music teacher all day. He plays metal for fun, and we're getting paid $300 a show or something, and then he'll go do a country cover set at a casino and play for like an hour and a half, 2 hours, and get paid $800 just for one show, just him.
that's crazy.
So he's like, yeah, clearly I'm going to do this.
Oh yeah,
But his passion's in shredding, which it happens a lot. Like even like the dude from like Nurgle from Behemoth had like a dark folk project that he did for a while. Like that dude Amigo the Devil
Yep.
clearly is into like metal and stuff. Like he's sings about a bunch of dark stuff. So that pipeline's real. And eventually, you know, your body gives out, you get older. I'm thinking about it, man. If I was better at guitar, like if I would have spent more time playing guitar, I would love to write a country album, but we'll see how it goes.
Just do it.
I just got bar chords and I got 3 bar chords in the truth, you know?
That's all you need. You got this. God, Garth Brooks, man. Okay, so what inspired you to become a vocalist? I have to know.
I always just thought it was cool, man. Like I remember singing in like a church choir when I was really young, like you know, like elementary small. You know, I couldn't really make my own choices or know why I was there. They were just like, go sing, and they kept giving me solos and things like that, which I didn't think about at the time, but I guess I could sing as a kid. And then I remember my mom had a friend who like worked at the radio station or something. The first live actual like rock show that I got to go to, I was 10 years old. Remember that band? Remember that band Live?
Yes. Yeah.
That was my first show, and it was, you know, at the height of their, you know, whatever radio hits and everything, and I got to sit front row. And I'd never been to like a live real like rock show before. And given that I know that's not heavy, everybody like is always gonna be like, my first show was Cannibal Corpse. Like, fuck off, you're fucking lying. But no, I just remember like seeing that, and I was like, that's so cool, because the dude was just like commanding the crowd. Dude took his shirt off, you know, he's like running around and doing all, and he's like not the most attractive man. I remember being like 10 years old and be like, this bald motherfucker, you know, like, but dude, just commanding the crowd, rocking out. And I thought that was so cool. So I got super into, you know, like alternative rock radio and things like that were big at the time. Luckily, I had older sisters, so they would always give me the CDs they were done with. So like, you know, my 5th grade picture, I'm wearing like a 311 shirt with spiky hair, you know, like I'm just like,
Hell yeah.
I'm into that. And Sublime. And, you know, I remember getting like a Woodstock 99, like live CD, you know, that I would like steal from my sister or whatever, and listening to like Rage Against the Machine and Korn and Limp Bizkit. And I was like, okay, that's cool, you know?
Yeah.
So yeah, I always just thought that was fun. And then, you know, as you're getting older, and the things that were on TV and the radio at the time were, you know, not as, I think everything now kind of sucks. And I know that's such an old guy thing to say, but I feel like it's really monotonous. It's like the same thing just kind of being pushed over and over again, and there's nothing like truly shocking. Where I feel like when a band like Slipknot, who has blast beats, is like in the Billboard top 50, you know, it's like, and they're on TV all the time, you know, and then all those bands that spawn because of that, because all the record labels are like, oh, band with mass, cool. So then next thing you know, I'm like mowing lawns so I can go buy the new Mushroom Head CD because I saw it in a magazine, you know, and back then we didn't have a way to really check it out other than seeing the music video first, because you couldn't hear the whole album, you know. And then, but back then CDs were $20, so I was like, cool, I gotta mow lawn and then I can go find this album. And then yeah, from there I kind of figured out like I would buy like Hit Parader magazine or something, and then just look at what else was coming out or getting samplers. And then I heard Hatebreed, and it changed my life. Like I remember one day I bought I had $40, and I walked up to the mall that was kind of near my house, and I bought a Mushroom Head CD, and I bought Hatebreed Satisfaction is the Death of Desire, which is like bright blue. It doesn't look super hard, but it kind of looks hard, because the other one just looked dark, and the guys with masks that look like clowns, whatever. Yeah. You like that?
Oh yeah.
And I just remember listening to both, and I was like, this one's not good, and this one's the craziest thing I've ever heard in my life. So yeah, from there it was just a rabbit hole of like figuring out what hardcore was in death metal, and kind of going down that hole more. And then I eventually just learned how to scream. Yeah, it took a lot of practice, I guess, which is what you like to talk about on the show, right? I don't really have the technical terms to say. Like I see all these videos now of all these, you know, younger people like, yes,
it's so much
I use
different.
my fry technique, and I was like, I just scream from my diaphragm and figure out how to make the noise in my mouth. You know,
it's wild. That's one of the things I love about the show. Like, you have some that like I've had vocalists that have been doing it like 3 years, 4 years. You know, like under 5 years, maybe a couple years. Like, and the way they approach it is so different because they have such a wealth of knowledge compared to like what me and you learned, and there wasn't shit on the internet. Like, I remember Zenna Screaming was like the main thing you had.
Oh, dude, that DVD changed my life, because I kept on getting hoarse and stuff. And then just learning, I still use some of those things today, where it's like, just some of the vocal like breath exercises.
Yep.
And there's one thing that whenever I notice my throat starting to hurt, I'll like refocus myself. There was this over the pencil
Yes.
thing she
Dude,
used to use, where it's, like
Yep.
stick a pencil or imagine there's a pencil in your mouth and make sure that it's going over it. So like you're actually opening up your vocal cords and not just straining through them. That was life changing. I still do that all the time.
That was my aha moment. I always tell everyone on this, like, because I'll ask what yours was, like, when the light bulb kind of hit, because it trial and error when we're starting off. I don't know anybody that's just like, oh yeah, I picked up the mic and I could just do all the cool shit. Like I could just scream without hurting myself. But like, to me, I was just trying to figure it out. I was, okay, I can't talk the next day. Like I sound awful. Clearly I'm doing something wrong. Like I'm straining the shit out of my voice. I remember finding that DVD and I watched it, and I remember just like, I watched the whole thing and I was like, what the hell is she talking about? Like, none of this makes any sense to me right now. I was like, I don't get it. Like, I don't know. Okay, whatever. It works for them, sweet. And then I remember going to Sirens practice, and we were just kind of forming and getting going. And so there was like no real lyrics. There was no like, there was pretty much like jam sessions starting to write. So I had free reign vocally just to do whatever I wanted when I wanted, like just kind of screaming over top of stuff. And so I remember screaming, and then I was like, I'm going to try the over the pencil. So like I imagined projecting, and we did like hour run through, and afterwards I was like, I feel fine. It's like, oh shit. Okay. I think I understand now. Like I have an idea what this feels like. And after that, I was off and running.
Yeah, that was super helpful for me. But it's just like anything else, right? Because I remember like around that time I was into skateboarding too. And those are things that you just literally have to trial and error, and just finally you just find the right move, like the right motion for whatever it is, for your feet or for your throat. It doesn't really matter. Like same logic applies. Eventually you can start doing the kickflip, and then you can land it perfectly every time. And like, cool, now let me do something crazier, right? Like, so I can do the ooh, ooh, like bark thing. Yeah. Cool. How do I do that, but higher, whatever it is.
That feeling when you get it though is great.
For sure. And I think I was just lucky too, because like I said, I did choir and things like that when I was younger. So I think I just had that natural kind of breath control and like a really strong diaphragm. Because I even go to the gym and work out a bunch nowadays, and in pictures of me like singing and stuff on stage and screaming, I always look like I have a belly, but it's just my diaphragm. It's like just my diaphragm like poking out super hard. And I probably still have a belly too, but
you got that reserve air, the reserve tank.
100%. But yeah, I think practicing those, like strengthening your diaphragm, and diaphragm and over the pencil is just how I kind of do everything.
Hell yeah. Gym helps too, especially like the older I got, like the cardio and stuff. That I feel like that really does. It helps a ton.
I wish I would have taken better care of myself when I was in like, when I had the ability to bounce back quicker. Cause like I said, like now I don't really drink much these days. I used to party super hard, which was so much fun because it got me into crazy situations and whatever. But I remember like I was on a tour with that band Ancients.
Yeah.
There was,
I like how you said that band Ancients, like, yeah.
Well, I mean, good people who were listening. It was like a metalcore gent band back when
super
that was kind of like
band.
first.
I loved Ancients.
Thing. It was super fun. And like everybody in that band was rad, but we were all partiers. Like, we were just constantly, we were playing with all these Christian metalcore bands, and we were the ones in the van just like, listening to electronic music and like smoking blunts. It's just like being weirdos. I just remember one time we were playing in Indiana, and we stopped, and like somebody let us stay at their place, and they're like, yeah, we got a bunch of beer for you guys. We like 6 of us and the 3 people who lived at that place drank 90 beers in one night. And then like the next day we woke up and was like, I have to play a show. And I was just sweating beer, and I was like, but I could bounce back from it back then quicker. These days, if I try to do that, alcohol like just screws up my voice, anybody like, I don't see how people do it. And I guess it's probably a different way, like a different style of music, right? A different style of screaming. But people who like smoke and are vocalists and do like really heavy stuff, I don't understand that. Because if I'm even around cigarettes, it just destroys me.
Getting old, man. It's like how I approach things is so much different than how I approached them back then. Like it's crazy.
Well, yeah, back then you can just throw stuff at a wall and see what works. Nobody knows what they're doing, and especially we didn't know what we were doing. And
No,
if you look like you knew what you were doing, that was all that mattered, and that was like the importance
we
of
faked it until we
having,
made it. Like that was it.
dude, but that was the importance of having like, an ambiance or something for a band, right? That's why your like MySpace page needed to look sick. That's why your t-shirts needed to have kind of a cohesive thing. Like I'm a really big, like I'm a marketing dude, so having that ambiance of what you are beforehand is very important, right? Because it always like, I don't know, it always drive me crazy when a band would have like a really dark imagery and things like that, and then they'd just be like on stage, and it's like, you're making what we do look silly. And then also just like being a drunk asshole. It's
Yeah,
never, it's never a good look.
man, dude, we did bounce back quick back then though. God, recovery time in general, the bangovers from like,
I mean, I still get bangovers, dude.
dude, I used to like, everybody's like, how does your neck not hurt? I'm like, oh, I'm used to it. But then if I didn't play shows for like a couple weeks or even practice or something, I'm like, oh, now if I do it, like, we did a music video, and I'm not even joking. The group thread the next day, everybody's like, you would have thought we were all in wheelchairs. We're like, fuck everything. Like, this sucks. Like, I'm hurt so bad, bro. It's like, I can't move.
Well, dude, I mean, that's the importance of like I said, like I wish I would have taken, I guess, my body health a little bit more seriously when I was younger.
Yeah.
But it's fine because I had metabolism and I wasn't like crazy fat. It was all just beer weight and just, I lived like a ninja turtle, man. I ate pizza every night. I didn't drink water once, like I only drank PBR and ate Little Caesars. But yeah, I mean, dude, now like I'll go to the gym at least 4 or 5 days a week now. And the first like 20 or 30 minutes is just me stretching. Like it's just me stretching my back, getting stuff in weird angles. I've gone to the chiropractor a bunch. Like I went to the chiropractor earlier this year just because like something was like hurting me and I was like, whatever. They did like a little scan and they were like, your neck is fucking destroyed. They're like, do you like play in a band? And I was like, yeah. And they're like, heavy metal. I was like, mm-hmm. And they're like, yeah, that'll do it. Because I still, dude, like I still go hard on stage. Like there's no point not to. Like I still contort and do weird shit, and I still climb on shit. And you got to give those people their money's worth,
Yeah. Oh, you always did. You always had killer stage presence. That was one thing I always loved about watching you guys. You were a sick vocalist, and you just like put on a hell of a show. Like I don't think I ever saw you like phone it in. You sent it every time.
I mean, this is what I tell everybody. It's like every time could be the last time, and you never know. You never know when it is. Like, and not to like, say anything terrible is going to happen, but like car accidents happen. Sometimes something will happen with somebody's family, and they're like, "Hey, I have to quit the band," and then the band's over. Like whatever it is. Every time could be the last time. Make sure it fucking rocks.
Yeah.
And maybe it's just for me working at venues and just like working festivals and stuff for so long that it's just like I've seen so many bands. I hate when I see a band that's just like, why are you here, dude? There's
just going through the motions.
Dude, there's 10 other bands that would kick your ass on stage right now, and you're just somebody's stepson, like you're just a nepotism person who's just like, like, I don't care. Nah, dude, you gotta throw down every time. And that's how you, I don't know, get people to remember you. And that's why you still have a shirt after all these years.
Yeah, dude. My mindset was always like, it doesn't matter if it's local bands, if it's a huge package, if it's tour, like it doesn't matter. Every night, you never know who's going to be in the crowd. And even if it's like one person, I want that person to leave me like, damn, that band was good. Like they threw down, they were tight, and they put on a hell of a show. Like I paid my money and I earned it with them. Like that was always my mindset. Like it didn't matter.
And especially like nowadays too, right? There's so many bands, and it's cool that everybody has the ability to start bands now so easily. Everybody has a recording set up at home. If you just spend a couple $100, right? You can get a shitty mic and a little Scarlett thing that I'm running through right now, like, as I talk shit. But no, I mean, there's so many bands, and you have to find a way to stick out and do something a little bit different, and that's why, I don't know, that's why I've always, any band I've been in, I try to be the weird one on the bill. Because as much as something like, obviously we all like bands that were, remember when Amur was really big, for example. Everybody loved Amur.
Yep.
But he had that vocal style that was like, it almost seemed like he was phoning it in because it was the rapper thing, and he'd be like, and now it's time for the heavy part, whatever.
Yeah.
Everybody was doing that, and I was like, that's cool, and I like that sound. But once it's cool and everybody starts doing it, you're not if you're trying to do that same thing that's already cool, why are you spending your time? Like, just do something different. Like, do something,
Yes.
come from a different place, And like, I remember even playing in that band, The Castle is a Tomb, for a while. We were like the oddballs on these bills all the time, but we were like a super heavy deathcore band, like we still had breakdowns and stuff, but like we weren't coming from that place. We weren't coming from the Amur. We were coming from like Danza and like bands like Implosive Discordance and like more of like the death metal grind kind of side of things. And I think that doing like little things like that just kind of makes you stand out more. Like everybody was super, Christian. I don't know your stance nowadays, but I know you've been in a Christian band in the past, like, but we were always, I don't know. I always thought.
No, we weren't. Dude, which band? Sirens?
No, I thought
Resurrect?
Resurrect Morning was.
Resurrect?
At first. Yeah.
Dude, you know how many people thought that? Like, both bands, because so we were never okay. Resurrect definitely was not a Christian band, but I don't even know what the lyrics were back then when I was in them. I have no clue what the lyrics were because I remember when like I took over vocals, they were like, this song has these parts, and then it was just kind of like figure out the rest on your own. I was like, damn it, Pat, come on. But
no, I always just assume, but that's the thing is like we never talked shit, like because we had to play.
That was we have talked about this on this show before. I've had different people like as Hell Retreats and Plea for Purging and with Blood Clumps Cleansing. That was the thing back then, and it was the hot thing in the market was the Christ core, I guess, if you would, like the Christian metal core.
Dude, it was in the South, man. It was like, because even when I was in high school before I moved up to Alabama, it was like we all loved Norma Jean, and they were like a Christian band. But that's just how you would get your parents to let you go to shows, right? Like the all ages show, be like, oh yeah, we've seen this band called Norma Jean, but then there's also like a band opening up called Judas Iscariot, and you're like, oh, okay.
But I remember like, I don't think we ever really discussed like lyrical stuff in Resurrect. People always said that, and we were just like, no, I mean that's cool, whatever. Like, yeah, we don't have anything offensive that I remember. Sirens like made a conscious effort not to cuss on stage, just because we didn't know. Like, there was a lot of not young kids, but there was younger kids that come to the Muse, Rocket Town especially. There was a shit ton there, totally. And it helped like get in venues. But we never were like, oh yeah, we're a Christian band. We just
see. But I took the exact opposite approach back then, because I was trying to be the one that was like, oh yeah, like everything. But off stage, we're all nice. Like you know me, I'm like I'm very friendly, whatever. But like on stage, it's like, no, fuck you, fuck this. Our shirts are gonna be super offensive. Like we got cease and assist stuff for one of our shirts. Like we almost got sued. Like all of our shirts were like the like keep Jesus out of death metal. Like all that crazy shit like that. But it just kind of has to work for whatever your band is, But I think you guys did a good job of that because you actually had the chops to back everything up without cussing and stuff. I'm just a Neanderthal dummy who just like, all right, fuck this place up. Yeah.
It's funny, like, so we did that, and like, obviously we all cussed. Well, all of us, but I don't know that our bass player cussed. But whatever.
What a good boy.
I know he was. Well, if he did, it was like rare. Whatever. Him and his dreadlocks. He was just over there slinging them about. But when we started Breathe, like, we had never released anything with like profanity or anything, right? We're good little boys. And then I was just like, well, I'm writing about this, and I was like, you know what? I'm saying fucking here, and they were just like, okay. And I was like, I'm just letting you know, like, we're not following that rule anymore. Like, I'm an old man now. If I want to be angry, I can be angry, damn it.
There's something about a well-placed fuck. And I try, like these days, I try to stay away from it unless I feel like it's like adding to the song.
Yeah.
But there's something about a well-placed profanity that can really set a part off,
It cracks me up too. Like, what was it? Eric was listening to it, and he was like, why is the clearest thing you say in the whole damn record when you say fuck? And I was like, I don't know. He was like, I swear, that's like the most enunciated part you have in all of it. It's like, rah, 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 and then fuck.
But it's like a primal noise. Like every human or every adult understands that as like a, you know what I'm saying? Like you'll even hear fuck in something that is not fuck.
Yeah.
Just because like you're like, oh, anger, loud, you're going straight to fuck.
That's crazy. You thought we were a Christian band. I bet a lot of them did though. Like we were kind of like.
I didn't think that y'all were like a crazy Christian band. I thought y'all had like Christian members.
Oh,
So
we
like,
did. I want to say,
yeah,
yeah, we did. But I mean, it wasn't like, yeah, it wasn't labeled. We were playing with like All Shall Perish and whoever else. Like it was, yeah.
totally. But I mean, that was like a thing though. Like there was huge bands that would play with those bands too. You know, like For Today or whatever. I don't know. I was always very like, I was always very anti-Christian.
Oh yeah.
But
Good times back then, dude. That's wild. That's when it was hot though. I've heard some wild stories about marketing for those bands. Crazy stories, just like labels pretty much being like, "Hey, you are a Christian band," and they're like, "No, we're not." Like, "Oh, you're a Christian band. You're gonna wear V-necks. All right, this is what you're doing now." That's what's hot. That's what sells.
And that's like the fun part. It's like everybody's like, you know, all these bands, they're always like, oh, we have to get signed, and it's like, yeah, but there's something that comes along with that, right? It's not just like, I think everybody wants to think that, oh my God, you signed to a record label and then the doors just open up. It's like, it gets harder from there. Like I was in a band that was like briefly signed to a smaller label that was like a Victory Records subsidiary. So it was like, you know, yeah. And you know, even then, like we still had kind of like our vibe, you know, like we would always kind of dress like nicer, like the ancients we'd always wear like black shirts and stuff, but like they wanted us to do stuff like that. They're like, this is how you're gonna be now. And I was like, I don't really like people telling me what to do.
Yeah,
you know, like and especially on like a bigger stage, like where some of those bands are, like, yeah, like you're gonna wear V-necks now and you're all gonna grow your hair out and you know, whatever it is, like they want you to do that so they can market it a certain way. And there's a give and a take to everything. It's not just like you get a record contract and you get to do whatever you want. That's very rare, you know?
Yeah.
Nowadays, I feel like you even have to already have all of that set up before a label will even want to put you out, you know?
So I have to, there's so much stuff I want to touch on. Like we keep briefly touching on, I want to like hit it. So I'm gonna go on and hit this one. How is it, do you think, well, you're in a band now, obviously you're still doing it all these years, but going from back then to like the handing out flyers, the old school, like hardcore grind to now in a band, like you said, it's way more accessible. You can record. Everybody can have a studio. Back then, we had to book studio time or know someone that had a studio to go record, do demos, do whatever. How is it now? Like, what do you think? How it's evolved? Is there even really a need? I mean, okay, I have to word this carefully because I think there is a need, but it's not the same need as it was because distribution is vastly different now too compared to like how it used to be.
100%.
So labels. Are they needed as much? How is it being in the music industry? Harder, easier for bands now? Like, give us a
here's I'm a positive guy, right?
Okay.
Here's my stance. There are too many bands. And I say that being one of them, you know, like that's why I try to do whatever I can to stand out and be different than whoever and still have like a good quality product, right? And these are things that, you know, you get better at with age, right? Like I've recorded so many times that like I know what to do in a studio, or like I know who we want to work with to make things sound right, whatever. But the amount of stuff that now that it's so accessible, it's kind of ridiculous of just the amount of entertainment in general that's out there, because it's not just in metal, right? Like now anybody can be a rapper because I could download Fruity Loops and just make some shitty beats, get one of these little microphones, and then just sit here all day and do whatever. It just takes time and practice to get actually like good at all these things, right?
Yeah.
But because the internet and the way the algorithms work, you're just going to get fed a bunch of the same stuff over and over again, which has all been monetized so much. And you know how this works. Like you do streaming and YouTube and all this stuff. It's all pay to play now. Whereas I feel like even 10 years ago, that wasn't as prevalent. You could find the things that you wanted to find, and now it's a lot harder because like you have to really dig for things. Just like, you know, I was talking about digging for bands to like in magazines, or, you know, finding CD covers I thought were cool or whatever. Nowadays, it's so hard to find what you want because the algorithm deprioritizes things unless you're in super niche stuff. Like I think I got lucky with my newest band because we're, you know, we kind of fall under the grindcore label, which is not there's not a ton of grindcore bands. Like there's probably like 10 or 15 really good grind releases a year, you know? So I think we put out an EP, labeled it grind, and then a bunch of people on the internet found it because it's like a super niche thing. But if you look at a broader term, like, oh, I like metalcore or I like death metal, dude, it's huge. Like there's so many, and you're not gonna find the good stuff unless you're actually like out at shows, supporting local things, supporting things in your community. um, I think that's what makes it a little bit more difficult because, especially over COVID and everything with TikTok, and so many podcasts have talked about all this stuff, but that becoming more accessible and like seeing like hardcore as big as it is now. Hardcore is supposed to be underground and scary. Like I remember like hardcore when I was younger was like I was scared. Like I remember I was at a First Blood show and I was like 15 and I was like I shouldn't be here. There's criminals here, like and like before everybody had face tattoos, they all had face tattoos and I was like I'm fucking scared. This is crazy. And now it's like hardcore is Turnstile, but it's like don't get me wrong, I like Turnstile, but it's not a hardcore record. It's like they just played here in Seattle, like the biggest thing, and like that rocks. I love when bands get big. I'm not hating on them, but it's like then all these kids are like, this is hardcore. And it's like, it's not, dude. So, and the same thing happens with death metal and whatever. They're like, this is death metal. It's like, it's just not. So, and as much as I don't want to be that gatekeeper, dude, you have to gatekeep a little bit, like, and that's why you'll see so many like really strong local music scenes come up because they're supporting each other and doing stuff like Tacoma and Seattle. It's so hard to get a show here because all the bands are so into them, like in their circle of things, that like they don't need small touring bands to come through. So you've got to like know somebody, and I think that's just kind of how it is in a lot of bigger cities now. Like I know like Nashville's the same way, dude. Like Nashville's like crazy huge hardcore metalcore scene now.
Yeah,
and it's got to be hard as shit to get a show there if you're a touring band with like 1,000 Instagram followers, like 1,000 monthly listeners, whatever.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think it's just how it is, but I think everything is kind of with the internet and all of the platforms that everybody uses. It's just been monetized and it's turned into such like a pay to play monoculture that it's detrimental to actual art. And that's just how I feel.
Okay. I love it. It's so as someone who did the old school way, I say old school like I'm like ancient, but I mean, you handed out flyers. I've seen you hand out flyers.
Brother, I still do. Like
I handed out flyers. Like we've done all that. Like we said, when we were really doing things, you have MySpace, Instagram. Bands really weren't on that much. Like not like now. Like it was barely anything on Instagram.
Yeah.
Like you might have a couple things, and then Facebook was kind of still coming.
Well,
from
Facebook still had the events and things like that, so it was helpful. Yeah.
Whenever we stopped, Facebook had started becoming like the main platform. Like people, I think MySpace was shutting down or something happened, and like everyone's kind of shifting. Like, oh, go follow us on Facebook for announcements and whatever to stay in touch with us. But that was it. And now you have so many platforms, literally, to like try to get your music out. It is exhausting. It's rough.
Yeah. Well, and I mean, I'll tell you this too. Like, so with Smearing, the band that I'm in now, we came out with that first EP earlier this year. It did really well with like nothing behind it, just us putting it out, playing shows, whatever. Like Decibel picked it up and wrote about it. I didn't even send an email. So I was like, this is crazy, because every other time I've put out an album, I've sent it to Decibel and just not heard anything back, right? So this time I was like, cool. We have 16 minutes of music for our new record that we just finished, and everybody was like, hey, you should like just send it to some labels and see what's up. Not like huge labels, not like the Metal Blades and things like that, but like, bands that we like, smaller labels. It's like, hey, maybe they'll be cool and help you make vinyl or something. I'm like, cool. I'm not getting any emails back from people. So it's just like, I started sending them like, I think 2 weeks ago. I've gotten 2 emails back and they've both been like, no, but thanks. And I just reply like, thank you so much for listening. Actually replying, because there's got to be a million other bands from every other city and every other state in the United States and Mexico and Canada and wherever hitting them up. So their inboxes are just flooded with stuff,
Yeah. It's so oversaturated right now since it's so accessible.
It's crazy. And again, I think it's cool. Like I want people to make their art and get better at it. But at the same time, it's like, it makes it harder to find the actual things that you like. So that's why I do like, it all just gets pushed back underground, man. Like, that's why I like going to I don't like going to huge shows, man. Like I just went to a really big show that, with my girlfriend, it was like an arena show. and I'm not super into the band, but I can appreciate stuff or whatever. But
Yeah.
just being there, I was just like, this is not my vibe.
Yeah.
It's like, and I hate to be that dude, because then you're just like, oh, I'm just a negative asshole. But it's like, no, like I know my lane and I want to stay in my lane. Like
Yeah.
it doesn't mean you can't like appreciate things and take from them. Like I think that's a hard part where I think that gatekeeping becomes a little bit too harsh, is when you completely reject everything else and you're not taking lessons or like learning from things that even you don't like. Because even if you don't like it, oh, you don't ask yourself, why don't I like that? Or like, what is it about this that I like? And you can kind of capitalize and like change those things, right? So how are you going to make your hardcore band stick out when there's 40 other hardcore bands in town? But then I go to this one Sleep Token show and I'm like, oh, they had these super dope like lights or something, or like they were wearing this costume or did this thing. It was like, cool, I could not copy it, but it's like, yo, I could do something like that, right? Like
Yeah.
just to make the stage show a little cooler, to make like something more engaging. And I think that's where it gets a little weird. But I think that's also the detriment to that, is when you are mixing all those things together and then still labeling it as something else. That's when it becomes a little weird.
Yeah.
When we're like Avenged Sevenfold is like, they're a death metal band. I'm like, they're fucking not.
No.
Like,
No. Not even
but it's
close.
because every brand, has the metal font shirt now. Where it used to, you could like walk around and be like, sick. What's that band? I've never checked that out. I'm gonna check that out. It looks cool. Now it's like, what is that? It's like, oh, it's my homie's streetwear brand. And you're like, I don't care about fashion, like not for me. But yeah, man, I don't know. It's a really interesting time. And unfortunately, I feel like we've kind of let the big companies overrun everything. And that's why I'm okay with things going a little bit more underground and being a little harder to find and a little more niche. Cause I think that's where actual like cool, challenging art is happening that doesn't have money behind it. And not to say again, like that Sleep Token show, I don't listen to it in my free time, but like it was a dope show. Like it was cool. They had a crazy stage setup, sounded great, everything. But at the same time, I'm just as happy at a grindcore show with like 60 people who are super stoked to be there, who all get the references or like whatever it is.
Yeah. Dude, their rise is unreal. Sleep Tokens, like it's crazy. It was around COVID, I think, right, when they just like literally went to the moon. Like they exploded.
Dude, straight up, I never listened to that band until
I hadn't honestly. I found out about them like a lot of people around the COVID time. Like whenever, I want to say they had like, I'm going to say 300,000. I could get roasted for this. I don't know. I don't know the exact analytics, but they had 300,000. Still an impressive monthly listener. Like 300,000 is awesome.
No, they're like in the millions now. They're huge.
And then in the span of like a month and a half, it went from 300,000 to 1.3 million. Like it just shot. Like
brother, they just sold out the Tacoma Dome. That's like where Drake and Monster Trucks play.
It's mind blowing. Like I remember listening to somebody and they're like, they're getting offers right now that they're just like, what the fuck is happening? Like as how much popularity exploded. Throne's another one. Throne just like Buster's newest band. Just,
dude, that band's huge now too. Yeah.
It just, and he's like, this is the easiest stuff I play at everything, but this is what blows up, and it just like caught. But also, they do really short. I think there's something about that too. Like my guys are not into short songs usually. Like, they don't limit. Like, both of mine come from like progressive backgrounds, so they like to really fill out the song. Like, it's rare we get a 2-3 minute song. If we do, I'm like, hell yeah, it's less stuff I have to do, but sweet. But I mean, Thrones, all their stuff was like 2 minutes. And I was like, they're going with the short content, like the short form, attention span, and it worked.
Dude, it's not even that. It's just get to the beef of it, man. It's like, at a certain point, like Void Dancer, that band that I've been playing in for a long time, we just came out with like a new EP and everything. I was very adamant because all those dudes they're prog guys. Like they're not into hardcore. They're not, so I'm like the vocalist dude being like, yo, let's do this cool little like black metal part, that's just real nasty, whatever. But try to really focus on songwriting. Yeah. Versus, because dude, like don't get me wrong, I know all those dudes can shred. I love Between the Buried and Me, like the first few albums at least. But once all the songs became 10 minutes long, I was like, yo, I don't have time for this shit. Like, give me give me a good song. Give me 3 minutes of like your beef. Like show me what you got, because there's so much media, there's so much stuff going on. And I'm not saying I have the 10-second attention span of TikTok. Like I don't have TikTok. And I know it makes me sound like a loser cool guy or whatever, but I'm just like, I don't feel
Attention
like
spans
that's,
have gotten shorter though. Is
I
what's
don't feel like
crazy.
100%, because we're just bombarded with media at all times, where it's like most people don't have time to listen to a 9-minute song. And there are still bands that I like that do that, like Primitive Man and stuff. Like they just came out with like a 10-minute song and I was like, this rocks. But it's also a niche thing, right?
Yeah.
Like I don't have time to check out bands, like all these different bands that I would like to, when all their songs are 7 minutes long.
Yeah.
You know, like, and I'm not a guitar player, and all those dudes are just shredding, like, look at this shit. I'm like, that rocks, but what are you doing differently, you know? Like,
Yeah. It's
where's
funny, like
the
listening to like
catch-
reactors or people that like are promoting and like, well, I don't know why I did that, but like this did mainly I've heard like different reactor people like just going around listening to people bands they're doing. A lot of them will have like a limit. It's like if it's over this many minutes, we're not playing it. Mostly because like if you are out there, and I completely understand why, like if you're out there and you're streaming and you're like going through 20, 30 songs, right? Like in a session, if all of them are 5 to 10 minutes, like in that
if
range.
anybody's still listening to this podcast, I'm surprised.
Yeah. Yeah. We tangents. Exactly. If you're still listening now, but yeah, it's like the attention spans, like they're like, can't do it. Okay. So we've derailed. I'll save my next derail question for a little on down the road, because I have to bring up something. Fuck, I'll just bring it up now. So once upon a time, we bought a van. Remember? Do you remember?
Yeah.
Do you remember this van?
Did you guys buy?
Fantastic was ours.
You guys
That's what
the old. Yeah, you guys bought the old Castle van. Yeah.
Yes. So that's what my old band toured in, went to shows, did all kinds of stuff. We had it until like when we broke up. Like they kept it for a while, and I think they finally sold it. I think.
Dude, those Chevys will last forever if you take care of them.
Dude, that thing, God, that thing went everywhere. Fantastic was a
Mhm.
trooper, and we kept the name Fantastic because I'm pretty sure y'all named it that. Like we went,
Yeah.
we were just like Fantastic. It's perfect. It works. That thing was a trooper
yeah.
though.
My homie Paul, so that was like his band. His family all drives vans. He still drives a van to this day. He's got a newer model of that same like
Oh my
Chevy
God.
van. He drives it everywhere.
I think that's who we bought it from was Paul, wasn't it?
Yeah, it's Paul, because that was Paul's van. Like I said, that was his daily driver. Like he still drives a van around, like a 15-passenger van around all day. It's crazy.
Dude, that van was awesome. Good old Fantastic. All right.
So sick.
Vocals. You learned to do them by just trial and error. Did you play any other instruments first before you got into vocals?
I mean, like I said, I sang a lot when I was a kid, but I first tried to play bass because I liked a bunch of that really like groovy stuff that my sisters were giving me, like Rage Against the Machine, 311, stuff like that. I thought that was super cool. But my hands aren't big, so I had a problem playing bass. I can still play a little bit. I also play guitar too, so like I've just never been good enough to play in a metal band. So like I can shred like a little bit nowadays. Like I can do like tremolo picking and stuff, but all my friends that play guitar are just so much better that I'm like, let me just stick to what I'm good at. You know, like maybe one of these days I'll whip something out, but it definitely won't be, you know, shredding all over the place.
Country. Just saying.
Yeah. Here we go.
Okay. What were some early mistakes you made when you were learning to do vocals?
Pushing too hard from the throat, not taking care of yourself before you have to perform, like figuring out what goes wrong. Like I said, like even I like smoked for a long time because I was an idiot. That wasn't helping. Even being around like enclosed spaces with smoke will like mess you up. Not hydrating properly. Yeah, in general, just like not taking care of yourself and pushing too hard. Because I used to try to make a bunch of really crazy noises. Like I used to like try to do pig squeals and all this stuff. And like learning how to do those hurts so bad because you can seriously mess your throat up so bad, like trying to go out of your range. So like literally you have to learn where your range is and then use mic cupping techniques to get a bigger sound out.
Yeah.
You know?
So what was your aha moment?
Yeah, I think like you said earlier, it was seeing something like those Melissa Cross DVDs and like figuring out like the over the pencil thing and just learning breath and how to actually open up your throat and not just force it through. Yeah. Because you can even hear, dude, like even like professional vocalists now who've been doing it for a long time. you can just hear their voices like are shredded over time. Like I listened to like a podcast with that Davey Havoc from AFI on it. That dude's clearly not doing the stuff he was doing in the 90s where he was just screaming because you just can't anymore, you know?
Yeah.
That's why he's all like dark and goth, but it still rocks. The new AFI is really good, but we can talk about that later.
Okay. You mentioned a routine. What is your routine to get ready? And does it change if you're going on tour, one-off show, going to studio, or even if you're sick?
Dude, stretch and warm up before you play always. I can't go out there cold. I know some people probably can, but I've just never, I've never had good shows when I try to do that. So, yeah, at least like 20 minutes before we play, which sucks because they always miss the band that's playing before us. But sometimes the venues I can do it side stage. But dude, stretch my back out, stretch your legs out, get the blood flowing, and then actually do like the opera sing, like just try to go high and low in your range. Like I don't do anything super crazy as far as like me, mom, like hitting syllables and stuff, but at least warming your voice up, like getting the top and the floor kind of established so you don't go out there and then try to do a high scream and then you're like that one Chelsea Grin video, you know?
Oh my god. Yes. Oh my god. Do you do anything for vocal care?
Stay hydrated, drink a lot of tea. I mean,
So
it's
you're
a
a
little
big tea
different.
guy.
Dude, I love tea. Don't drink alcohol before I go. It's weird. I can't do like mints and things like that before I play, which is a bummer because it shows you're talking close to people because there's loud music and stuff. And I always feel like I got like funky breath because I can't eat mints or chew gum before I play because something about the mint just like makes my throat kind of like, it just gives a little itch, you know,
Yeah.
which, but afterwards you got to because your shit will be so dry. But yeah, I think, and that changes a little bit, like, you know, from doing studio stuff, because I think studio, you just try to get the most extreme sound that you can.
Yeah.
So I will do things that I know are bad for my voice in a studio. But it's a one-time thing to kind of get that sound and then find a way to replicate it live that doesn't hurt as bad. You know, like you said, you can always cut mics and do stuff like a little more theatrical to get that point across.
Yeah. Okay. All right. What is harder, being a vocalist or being a frontman? Because there is a difference, and you've definitely seen it over the years. There's vocalists that can do everything, right? Like,
Yeah,
they can do anything, but as far as commanding the crowd and having like that presence, they lack. And then on the other side, there's vocalists that may not have the skill set or the tools that, you know, this other vocalist have, but they can just, the crowd is eating out of their hand and whatever they say goes, and they just, you know.
I mean, you know me, I'm a showman. So it's like, I think if I miss a note, you know, that's why I don't like to sing as much. I think like if you listen to that newest Void Dancer EP that just came out, there is some singing parts on there. I hate it when those dudes are like, let's play this song fifth. And I'm like, dude, I've been screaming for 20 minutes already. Like, you want me to sing high? Like, you want me to hit a kill switch engage note? You know, like I can try to do it, but you know, turn it into a scream or something. But if you're able to be an entertaining front person, you can change. If you know you're not going to hit that note, which I've done before, slide it into a scream and do something with your arms. And
Yeah.
I don't know, you always have to make people, like, it doesn't matter if it sounds bad on paper, right? Like not perfectly good, but do they believe you? And that's like the filter that I always put through. Like even my friends and stuff, like even when they show me recordings of them or whatever, like, hey, what do you think? I'm like, yo, like you sound on pitch, like you sound like you're hitting the right note, but like I don't believe you. Like you just sound like you're trying to hit the note. You're not like emoting it, you know? So I think it's a balance, and it kind of depends on what you're going for, right? I think grindcore is supposed to sound super nasty, so I can obviously be a madman for 30 minutes and run around and just make crazy noises, and that's awesome. But when you're trying to do something a little more technical, or even something like a little more chill, like I've seen really incredible vocalists that are terrible front people, but because of the kind of music that they're playing, it doesn't matter, you know?
Yeah.
Like they'll be super awkward talking in between songs and stuff, but then they'll play like the most incredible life-changing thing you've ever heard the next minute. So it just kind of depends on what you're going for. And yeah, just be yourself. Like, and again, like I make sure they believe you.
Yeah.
I think that's the most important thing.
I love it that like some people are just like, man, being a front man or like front person is tricky just because they don't think about the in between songs, or, you know, everybody else is tuning, everybody else is doing this, and your job is to keep them still engaged and to like do all the things. while you're like getting your breath. And I don't know, there's a lot that goes into it. You have to. It's definitely a skill set you have to learn. And even
Well,
that being
dude,
the front, kind of you said with merch and all, you're still kind of doing it afterwards. Like you're
well, dude, and you've got to like learn with time too, right? Like, cause we, I hope they don't listen. If they do, whatever. And confrontation. We played with like a couple young bands recently, and they were like younger. Like they were all like, "Yeah, we're 20 years old." I was like, "Sick, dude." I remember being 20. That rock on. You guys are doing it. That's so cool. But they talked longer in between the sets than they did their songs, and I was like, "Yo, man, like I want to talk about how I think Palestine is important and how our government's fucked up and all these things." But it's just like less talking, more rocking, dude. Like you're here. We came for the show. If I wanted to go to a political speech, I would have gone to a political speech. Like I'm here to rock. You
yeah
can still make your point real quick. And it's like, you just got to find that over time, there's nothing that can kill a set like just a bad talk in
yeah.
between.
We always like we had backing tracks back then because nobody had like in ears or anything. We weren't that fancy. Which I don't think anybody had in ears back when we were grinding like the Muse and all back in the day.
Bro, if you're playing size rooms that size, you shouldn't have in
Yeah.
ears.
So we had like a whole thing set up and it was like I say backing tracks. It literally in between the songs, our drummer would hit his little pad and then it would set off like the little in the middle interlude song thing for us just to fill the space while I talked. So
Dude,
like the set
I
didn't
do
drop off.
I still do that same stuff, dude. Like we'll literally just have kind of just like a little tone thing that'll go, so it's not awkward if I like stop and get some water.
Yeah.
They
It's just so
tune,
like like you said, the vibe doesn't end. Like, hey, the song
yeah,
just stopped. Okay,
and
there's
then
still
it's
music going.
silence.
Like blah 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 blah. They're tuning sweet. Okay, we're good. Water stuff's going. Boom, next song. Like we can keep the vibe.
Yeah,
And that,
you don't
like you
have
said,
to
you
have
learn
a
it over
tight.
time.
Yeah, and it's not like you have to have a stand-up set. Like you have to go up there and be like, "Here's the joke. Here's this." But
Yeah.
it's like you have your 3 things that you want to say, like thank the venue, tip your bartender, shout out to these other bands, let's fucking rage. Like that's your thing, and you can't in between every song say something weird that throws the vibe off. That's one thing that drives me crazy is like, remember how I mentioned earlier it was like the vibe of a band and then they're just absolute goofballs.
Yeah.
I don't like it's almost like embarrassing for me. I don't like when people um act in a way that what I do looks silly, because like I think I take what we do pretty seriously, but like it's okay to have fun. Like I still have fun doing it, and there's like a way to be like lighthearted and stuff about it, but like don't get up there and be like, we're this the whole time, and then just be like, hey, what's up, guys? So I farted, and it's you're making like you're killing the vibe. You're making what I do look silly, and then that honestly, like that always makes me play harder too, because I'm just like, oh, cool, you're gonna be a goofball, like watch this. Like I'm gonna go 10% harder just to make you actually feel silly for doing that.
Hell yeah.
But I mean, that's that little competition to me, I guess. But music's not a competition, man. But
is it though? Like no, like that's a touchy subject. Like I don't know. Maybe I have a chip on my shoulder, but I always took it like, oh, they crushed it tonight. I want to go a little harder because I mean I want to like.
But that's when you're playing the right shows and you're with the right people. Because
but it's not like I'm not gonna get off stage and be like, "Fuck you, Clint."
No,
it's
no,
like,
dude, that's not what it's about at all. Like it's about like if you're not playing shows with people that are pushing you to play harder, you're playing the wrong shows.
Yeah.
If you're not playing in a band with people that are pushing you to play harder, you're not playing in the right band. If you're not challenging yourself when you're writing songs or writing vocal parts or doing these things, like you're doing the wrong thing, man. Like you should be getting better at your craft all the time, and you should surround yourself with people who like actively want to make you better. It's not about fuck you, we're going to sell more shirts than you and get bigger. It's like, no, man, like this is the show. I'm going to do my thing. And it's like, if that's your thing, cool. But like, so I really like when like bands that play with us are like fucking killer, because it makes me like, oh shit, I better be on it tonight. Like I'll stretch for an extra 5 minutes,
I don't know. It was something about that. I always be like, it wasn't ever a malicious thing. It was just, okay, they're crushing it, so we can't suck ass. Like we have to go out there and we have to like beat them. Like as far as like put on a show, like I want to give everything I have. So if nothing else,
that's what it is. And I think that scene that we came from, like that kind of Nashville era, was like because we had so many good musicians in Nashville in general, because there's so many shows happening, because you're just bombarded with all these bands. Like, what are you going to do to stick out? And it was super sick playing with like, I always love shows with like you guys and like Dissect the Coroner and like The Human Condition and Goodbye Apathy and like, whatever all those bands turned into. It's like those shows were always super fun. because like everybody was pushing, you know, and it
Yeah.
wasn't like at the end, like we're all hanging out having beers together, like dabbing each other up. But like at the end of the day, we're all pushing each other to do better. And it
Yeah.
like a rising tide raises all ships, you know?
Yep. Dude, I'm all about that. All right, we're shifting gears. Lyrics. Where do you pull from for lyrics? Do you go more conceptual? Do you go personal?
Dude,
mixed bag? What do you do?
it depends on the project, right? And kind of like what you're going for. I think I've kind of found a sweet spot that works for me is I'll find like a cool concept or like a cool line or something and then just kind of expand off of that. And I get them from like, you know, you can find inspiration like wherever. Like I said, I think it's really silly when people don't experiment with other kinds of music or like listen to other things because it's like, dude, like I've written some crazy death metal songs based off of like a cool line in a unknown country song that I've heard. You know, I'm just like, oh, that's a cool concept because like, you know, country and folk songs are like storytelling, right?
Yeah.
So there's one line that it's like a thing. And I'm like, ooh, that's a crazy concept to think about, like how, you know, like whatever. Like I just heard this one the other day. It was like a love song, but he's like, I'm gonna stick around like styrofoam. And it's just like, oh, that's cool because like styrofoam is litter, it lasts forever, but then you can change it in your mind and be like, oh, sticking like styrofoam, like it's fucking littering the earth forever. You like, what do you know, like you can, there's so many places you can draw inspiration from, like a silly TV show. If somebody says like a dope little one liner, you're like, oh, that's sick. How can you like, that's a cool concept.
Yeah.
So that's stuff like that's been working for me lately, where I'll kind of like just hear something and then I'll be like, oh, that's a cool concept. Let me expand off of that. And then a lot of times what I'll do is make it a little more personal. Like, you know, I think it helps to draw from that personal experience. Like I said earlier, like, do I believe you? And somebody's definitely going to believe me if, you know, if I'm singing about something that's like I'm going through, even if I'm talking like slightly metaphorically about it.
Yeah.
Because I'll tell you that whole new Void Dancer album that just came out, EP, I wrote all that when I was getting divorced. And if you like look at it through that lens, you're like, oh, it's not just like a progressive metal album. It's like, oh, I'm like sad as fuck. I'm grieving. I'm angry. I'm, you know, like I'm going through the stages of grief and like finding ways to alliterate that. You know, it's like in a metal and hardcore and whatever, you know, scene anyways, like extreme music. It's the general vibe is always like, fuck you, I don't care, right? Like, I don't care, fuck you. But you can't just say, I don't care, fuck you. You have to show them,
Yeah.
you know, like show why you don't care without saying, I don't care. Show them fuck you without saying fuck you. Like, that's why it's like, I like metal bands that get really crazy and descriptive with like, yeah, dude, the song's about just killing somebody you don't like, killing a racist, whatever. Cool. How are you going to do that in a new way? You know, like I want like alliteration and crazy things. It doesn't matter what the song's about, right? I just like those parts.
Okay. Do you have a lyricist that you look up to or you admire?
I mean,
and why is it Garth Brooks?
Dude, I love Garth, man. No, I mean, dude, but that's the thing. Is like I rhyme a lot, and I think that comes from like country and pop and things like that that I listen to. But I'm, you know, I don't necessarily sound like that, you know. But I think like songwriting structures, you're influenced by the things you listen to. Like, dude, I'm a super big Bjork fan.
Okay.
If you've never, dude, I'm like, I love her so much. And like there's just like, it's just like true art and like some of the ways that she like expresses things. And like I said, like that emotion of coming across and saying this like weird little line is just very cool. So I always try to keep stuff like that in mind when I'm writing. And dude, is even like metal stuff. Like I know a lot of us from that era pulled from, you know, like a Whitechapel, like things like that. Like dude, like Trevor from Black Dahlia Murder. I know that's everybody who's probably our age is like one of our favorites, but like that dude did it all. He did highs, lows. The first band I ever tried out for, I did a Black Dahlia Murder song, you know? So, and yeah, I think like his lyrics were always like I said, talking about killing somebody, but he did it in a very descriptive and creative way that I thought was interesting. But
he wrote story, like you were talking about storytelling. Yeah, like they were stories,
right? Like you have to like, you're setting a vibe for, you know, the music is like the sonic landscape and you're kind of guiding them with words through it.
Yeah.
You know?
Okay. Do you have this question sucks. I'm warning you now. I warn everybody, this question is brutal. It sucks, so I apologize. But do you have a favorite lyric? It can be one of your own, it can be someone else's, or it can be both if you have one you can think of.
Dude, I saw you sent me this question beforehand and I like tried to think about it and I can't.
It's brutal.
I listen to so much music, dude. I don't know, like probably something like it's probably going to be like a John Prine lyric or something.
Dude,
Just like I said, it's like pulling from some weird like folk country kind of thing. But
please tell me you saw Jesse's answer.
no,
It's K-pop. Because his
that's
daughter,
wild.
his daughter's been listed or something. He's like, yeah, it's stuck in my head. We're gonna go with that.
Um, yeah, I think there's like a John Prine lyric that I really like a lot. It's I don't know, I kind of like ascribe it to like touring or like wandering or figuring out like just exploring the world, right? Exploring yourself. But it's uh water tastes funny when you're far from your home, but it's only the thirsty who hunger to roam. Like little lines like that are like very, very cool. But then he'll also write a silly song about how his wife left him for the traveling salesman. So it's like goofy stuff. But
What about?
uh,
Do you have any of your own that stand out that you're really proud of?
there's a line from the newest Void Dancer that I really like, just because it's kind of like a call to home, like for here. So the Puget Sound is like what they call the Seattle Tacoma area because we have the sound right there,
Yeah.
like the big body of water that's there that connects to the ocean. I said the future of ruin remains in the pungent Puget Sound. So alliteration, I like that.
Okay.
Um,
That's sick.
but there's also I don't know, like some of the newer smearing stuff. There's a lot of cool lines in there that's not out. I mean, some of it's just like it's not crazy creative, but it's like I scream "Do Not Resuscitate" in a single that we're dropping next week a bunch, and it's like, ugh, Again, that's been said before, I'm sure.
Yeah.
Um, I just want to make shirts with that on it, and hopefully nobody actually dies from it and I get sued. But
All right. So, tips for new songwriters as far as like writing lyrics, flow, cadence, all that good stuff.
I mean, again, it depends on kind of what you're trying to get across. If you're just trying to be a groovy band, focus on those grooves and fitting in with everything and finding that pocket. Like use your voice like an instrument. No matter what, I guess it doesn't matter what kind of music. Like make sure that instrument has like a unique timbre and tone, just like you would a guitar, right?
Yeah.
And yeah, figure out the flow. You don't have. It's cool to change things up and try things. Um, at the end of the day, you're an artist and you don't owe anybody anything. And I think people forget that a lot, especially when bands get bigger, because then fans are like, "Oh, I want more of this." But if you're not feeling that as an artist, you don't technically owe them shit. Like you don't have to put out the same thing over and over again. And that goes back to what I was saying. Like if you're around people who aren't pushing you, if you're not pushing yourself, you're doing the wrong thing. Um, so if you're not either getting better at the thing that you're already doing or experimenting with new things to make a bigger snowball of like the things that you can do, you're not doing it right. Don't pull from the thing that's already cool that you're trying to do. If you're trying to be like band X that's already cool, that band's already doing it way better than you. Stop trying to do that. Like pull from something else and like you can still be adjacent to that thing, but yeah, try something different. Try a higher thing. Try singing sometimes. I don't know. Don't do that. It's a bad idea. Like just like I don't know, experiment with some different things and see what works. And I think the beauty of being able to have demos, like a demo setup at home and things like that, or a practice space, you can try things without people hearing it first, and it's wonderful.
Yeah.
Because I've made so many bad revisions that I've had to make for things that are bad when I like hear back a demo and I'm like, oh, yo, that sucks, and then like the guitar player be like, yeah, you can do better than that. I'm like, cool, let's try this instead. It's all about just doing your thing, even if it's clearly influences are always going to be there, but yeah, do something for yourself. Like bands that get noticed are bands that are weird and bands that stick out, like I don't know, I'm trying to even think of like heavier examples, like the band Chat Pile. They're huge now. I don't know if you ever checked them out before, but they're like, dude, they were like a grindcore mathcore band. Dude has a super weird voice doing whatever, but he like made it work and they made it a little catchier, and now they're playing like sold out 800 cap rooms in Seattle and shit, and it's like,
Oh shit.
yeah, like wow, okay, cool. Yeah, just be weird, try stuff.
Okay.
Life's about experimentation.
One thing you said is something like definitely gets like hammered home a lot on this, and that's finding your voice, being unique. You said like Band X is already doing that. We don't need another one. It's like we always use like Phil from Whitechapel. We already have a Phil. There's a Will Ramos out there.
Totally.
It's cool to be influenced and to take some things they do and try to like add them to your arsenal, but don't try to be them. Like find your unique voice. Be you. Be the first Clint. Be the first whoever. You know.
They've already done the work to get them to be that. So yeah, taking that influence, like do the cool low like he does, but don't try to just be that. Because we saw that too, dude. Especially like around that era where we were in was like Whitechapel was getting bigger. Because I remember seeing them when there was like 30 people at a show, and then the next time it was 200, next time it was 500. Now they're like, you know, super huge. But like seeing the amount of bands that were just like, we're doing that, and then doing like the stage move and all that, it's like, stop doing that shit. That's why I'm just like, there's too many bands. Because if I wanted to see a worse ripoff of a band that I've already heard, like what the fuck am I doing? I'd rather hear a totally different weird band that I've never seen before that's not pulling from that, you know?
Yeah.
I don't want to sit through you know, 5 bands that are trying to do the same thing. It's so boring, and it makes you look silly, and it makes what I do look silly, and then I resent you for it, and then I'm just an old man yelling at you on the internet.
All right. So, do you have a favorite part or song to do live vocally? And on the flip side, we've kind of talked about recording, but is there a part that you didn't necessarily think about breath support and like, shit, I have to do this live because you were doing crazy stuff, and then when it comes time to do live, you're like, okay, this is rough. I got to figure this out.
Dude, totally. I mean, like I said, like sometimes in like Void Dancer, I have to sing a little bit for parts. I just shift it into a scream if I know I'm not going to be able to hit it, just because I know my body, and I'm like, oh, that's not going to work. I got to do this.
Yeah.
I've definitely challenged myself so many times with like really fast parts, but like I practice it and I can get it. Or, you know, luckily this new band that I'm in, Smearing, the guitar player and the bass player also can do vocals. So I've started incorporating that more to do a lot of back and forths, and then a lot of like big chant like things. So the newer stuff, I was actually like able to write in parts for them. And it gives me breaths, and because you know, I'm running around like a madman anyways, but yeah, I think it's cool to find people who can do that. And again, like I'm pushing them the same way that they're pushing me. They want me to be as extreme and crazy as possible. I'm like, yo, dude, you can scream while you're going, you know, yeah, making guitar noises with my mouth. That's what everybody wants. But yeah, I don't know. Just come see a show. I have fun at every show I play, and I play it like it's the last one. And if the room's, I don't care if the room's packed or empty, you're gonna know that you were there, and I will probably lock eyes with you or get uncomfortably close to you.
I can confirm this. This does happen. Hell yeah. We all get guilty of that though, like especially being able to punch parts in the studio and stuff like that. Like just punch that part in, and then later you're like, shit.
It's these records that like we're all like, you know, indirectly influenced by, even like, you know, just like big bands like Alice in Chains and like, you know, like these 90s bands and stuff when recording wasn't quite as dialed in as it is now. Those little imperfections are the things that make you stand out and sound really cool. And that's why I just like, I hate like newer metalcore stuff. Like I'm just not into it, because it just seems like a lot of it is, it's just like AI art, you know, like it's cool. I'm making it this, and it's this perfect little square of.
You don't want it too perfect. You want some imperfections.
Yeah, but because it feels fake to me. And again, it's just like go back to the thing. It's like, do I believe you? And it's like, no, I don't believe you, because I know you'd be taking a breath right there, you know, like, and you're not, like you're doing. And sometimes it's cool, like you want good production on things, but again, if it sounds fake and you can't do it live, like, what's the point? You know?
Gotcha. Okay. All right. Fun question time. Do you have a favorite call out? This is inspired by Adam D, Kyle Medina of Body Snatcher. We all know like there's your normal like crazy call outs, and then there is like the off the wall shit that like you just don't expect, and then we go into something heavy where you just say something completely random. I know you've done that. I've been there when you've just said weird shit.
We used to have fun. Like we would talk about it in like the van and shit before we got to the show. We're like, hey, what should I say before? Like, you know, we'll have a silent part and then just like, fuck this place up. But I got tired of saying, fuck this place up, right? I used to do that with Danza too. We would like, we'd mess around with stuff because like we'd go like work merch for him and do whatever and be like, what should I say to her before this part? And then we just start like, hey, somebody make me some baked beans. And then he just get up there, somebody make me some baked beans. You know, I don't know. I always like cheesy, like hardcore shit though, like old hate breed stuff that's not like silly. I don't know, dude. Just like hearing Jamie Josta just like yell Destiny like over a part, and you're just like, yeah. I don't know. I like shit like that. Again, old school like hate breed fan. So I just like I want my tough guy to be tough, you know?
I got you. I don't think I knew that you were a big Hatebreed fan. We learned something tonight.
Dude, I almost quit music. Like we got to open up for Hatebreed and Dying Fetus, and I was like, I'm good after this. Everything after this is just a bonus. Like,
dude, how sick is that?
Bro,
would the young you that found the Hatebreed record ever think, hey, I'm gonna one day share the stage with them?
Well, dude, that's what's
like,
so
how
cool
crazy
about,
is that?
That's so cool about what we do. Is it's not like, you know, you're not looking up to somebody who's selling out the Tacoma Dome necessarily. And bless up to the kids that are. I think that's fucking cool. But it's like, if you connect with something at a young age, the thing that we do is accessible, and that's why I like it. Like I like playing smaller venues and cooler shows and like niche stuff because it's like that's important to me. And it's like, who gives a shit about Jamie Josta in the real world? I do, because I thought that shit was so tight when I was growing up, and then being able to play with them, I was like, I could do anything. Like I literally like turned a dream into a reality, and you can do that if you set yourself up for these things. That's why I like this small metal and hardcore community, because you can do the things that you say you're going to do, and it takes a lot of time and effort, but it's not goals that are intangible, right?
Yeah.
Like I'm not going to open up for Metallica. I'm okay with that. But like, I opened up for Dying Fetus and Hatebreed. Fuck yeah.
That's sick. It still cracks me up today. Like people mean they're like, oh, you did metal stuff. I'm like, yeah. And they were like, I like this band. I'm like, yeah, I played with them. They're like, wait, what? I'm like, yeah, I played with them on this show, or I did this. And they're just like, are you serious? I'm like, yeah.
Yeah, dude, again, it's like I have all these posters from like shows that I booked or played or whatever. And it's like, at the time, cool. There was like 100 kids there or whatever. But like now it's like legendary.
Yeah.
Like
we played with, was it I See Stars when they were literal children still. Like they were in school doing homework in the van. Like their parents were like, all right, you got off stage, go do your homework. Yeah. And someone was like, you play with them? I'm like, yeah, they were actual kids. Like we were all like grown ass men running around, and they were like, parents were telling them to go do their homework. And they're like, that's so crazy. I'm like, that's just, I mean, that's what we did back then. Like it's cool. It's cool to look back on.
Dude, for sure. But I mean, it's also important to look forward, my guy.
Yes. Look forward to see what we can do next.
Keep going.
All right. Sports inspired question. Yeah. Okay. Throwing curveballs here. See, sports inspired curveballs. Right. All right. Do you have any pre-show or studio rituals you have to do? And that can be anything from like fist bumps with the boys before you go on stage to push-ups to you have to wear a certain pair of socks, shoes. In the studio, I've had someone that drinks only light blue Gatorade. Don't say it's a good show until you leave the city. Like there's all kinds of stuff I've heard. Like pretty much any superstitions, essentially.
I mean, in general, just like don't jinx a thing. Just like don't be in the van. It's like, oh, I hope we don't get a flat tire on the way. Like, shut the fuck up. Why would you even put that into the universe? You know, I don't think that's superstition. I think that's just common sense. Maybe a little superstitious. And not superstitious, just a little stitious.
Yeah.
But no, I don't have any crazy.
That works though. I mean, that's.
Well, dude, I mean, like I said, it's the energy that you put out, and like I visualize things, and I do that with everything, not just music. It's like I want to do something. So I'll like put my mind to it and like visualize it and like actively be doing that thing a lot, like all the time. Like before we play a show, like the night before, I'll think about the show. Like I'll lay in bed and I'll just be like, cool. Like I'll kind of like be turning my brain off, and I'll like visualize. Like when I practice with the band, I have my back to the band and pretend that there's like a crowd there. It's like it's little things that you do that just kind of like mentally prepare you for the reality that you're going through, that you're going to create,
Okay. Nice. All right. So do you have a favorite show that sticks out over the years that you've played? It has to be Hatebreed, right?
I do. That one was like monumental for me. Because that was sick as fuck. I moshed so hard I couldn't get kicked out because I was in a band. It was rad. So security was like so bummed at me. It was because I just kept like I wasn't even crowd surfing. I was like crowd walking. I was just like walking on people's heads for like 20 minutes straight. Yeah, dude, that was cool. I don't know, man. I just like playing with my friends a lot. Like I've played a lot of cool shows and like very fortunate. And obviously, it's like I put in the work to do that, but I still like playing shows that I play now. Like if it's a good show and the vibe's good, I'm stoked. Like I generally don't like to play. I don't really play with bands that nobody likes, so at least somebody in the band is like, yo, I'm stoked on this,
Yeah.
which is always cool. But I honestly, like, I just like playing homie shows that are well attended, like if my friends are doing like an album release show and I get to open up for that, I think it's like the coolest thing, man, because it's like part of like celebrating their hard work. You're with all the homies. um yeah, I don't know, it's hard to pick a favorite.
I think that's one of the things I miss the most about shows is like that camaraderie. Like you said, the homie shows, like going just like, I know we're gonna have fun tonight. Like this band,
Sure.
this band,
Yeah.
this band's playing. Like it's gonna be fun. Like if a bunch of people show up sick, it's gonna be awesome. If it's just us, it's still gonna be awesome. Like we're all gonna have a great time.
We're still just gonna kick it and use our drink tickets,
Yeah, and we're gonna all throw down, and everybody's gonna see who can do better, and then
Yeah.
we're all just gonna like bro out afterwards. It's
Yeah.
gonna be a great time.
And then
I
we're going
miss
to Taco
that
Bell.
probably more than anything. Well, we have it in our writing sessions right now. Still, you would love those because I mean, you remember how TJ was. So,
dude, I miss all you boys. Come up to Seattle. I got you a show.
okay,
Let's go.
all right, we will be there. That would be sick. All right. Let's see if I have any other questions for you. Best tour memory. I know you've done tours. You've done a lot of tours.
Yeah, and I mean, it's like I've done a bunch just like doing merch and stuff too for friends, which is like I think honestly those are probably, it's as much as I love playing music, it's so less stressful just kind of being like the extra dude, like helping out, solving problems, keeping the vibe up, doing whatever. Those tours are always like, those are always way more fun because I'm not taxed as much, and I just kind of get to like enjoy and then obviously help out, do whatever. We're still all in this together. I'm still doing a job of like taking pictures, making sure the sound's good. Sometimes I'll work lights or do whatever, but I don't know, those are fun. I just think like there's something real fun about being on a tour when there's like no expectations, like when you're like really young. Cause I think now when you're older, it has to make sense, right? You're like, fuck, I've got to like make sure that I've got enough money to have this time off. We have to make sure that we're, not going in the red by doing certain things. Cause touring's expensive, dude. Like I just like a little 4-day tour recently. And it was like, we just like broke even. And I was like, thank fucking God, cause I was like, man, I would hate to like have to dip into the band fund. Cause especially when we're trying to come out with a new record, do all this stuff. Right. So there's something to be said about like just those old tours where you're like younger and it doesn't matter. And you're like, oh, let's see what this is going to be like. And you end up like, dude, like playing in like Pensacola, Florida at a strip club, like that's off for the night or something. So it's just like I'm playing on a stage with a pole and handprints on the mirrors behind me where somebody was shaking their ass the night before. And it's like, cool. And there's like 20 kids there. And you're like, this rocks though. Like we're having fun, I don't know. Something about the innocence of all that is very cool. So yeah, do the thing.
You mentioned the house shows earlier. What's the most awkward show you've ever played? Was it one of those house shows where you said like you just kind of show up and?
No, house shows are always fun as fuck.
Like the ones back in Murfreesboro days?
Dude, any of them. Like I love house shows in general because I think like people's attitudes are a little more like open. It's more like a party, and it's not like a venue where people are like.
Okay, so what's the most awkward you've played? You ever played like a super awkward show?
So yeah, but it was probably so it was just me. So like I did like a secret thing up here for a while, a secret third thing, secret thing for a while where I would just go do open mic nights by myself and I wouldn't tell anybody. Like I wouldn't tell my friends. I wouldn't tell my partner. I would just be like, cool, I'm gonna go out tonight. And I would go and play acoustic guitar and like do like little country songs, right? By myself. Those were always, a couple of them were good. And I had so many that were just so bad, but I kept pushing myself to be like, yo, it's going to be better the next time. You got to do it. It's all strangers. Nobody cares. But it's like my voice sucked. My guitar was out of tune. My dude, like, or just whatever. I'm not a great guitar player. So it's just like, I just kind of suck. But those were always the most awkward.
Okay. We back in the day, we our drummer was in like lowriders and stuff. He was in like trucking and everything, right? And his group that went to all the shows, the car show stuff with him, they were like, "Yeah, have your band come up to the shop and play." They were thinking we were like Nickelback, like rock band, because they were like, "Yeah, we like metal," and they're like, "We like metal, we like whatever and stuff." That's
like
not
they like military metal, like recruitment rock. That's what they wanted.
So we get up there, and I remember like they put us in the middle of this shop, and like everyone kind of circled us, which was just sick. I love the layout because I was like, dude, no matter where I turn, there's people, so I can just like get in people's faces. Well, we start, and the look on their faces, like collectively as a whole group in the shop, was just like, what the fuck is this? Like, why is he what is wrong with him? So I was just like, okay, this is weird. But I just kept like going ham on them. And afterwards they're like, and like fist bumps. And they're like, I don't understand what just happened. Like the girls and stuff that were there were like with their guys and everything. Were just like, you thought I was like summoning Satan on them or something. Like it was so great afterwards. I was like, did you tell them when we play? He's like, I told them we play metal. And they were like, yeah, we listened to it. And I was like, they don't listen to our metal. Like their metal is not our metal.
Again, niche things. This is
but it was hilarious, but at the same time it was so awkward because like I remember like screaming and seeing their faces and just looking at our guitar player, looking at Eric, and he was just like, what the fuck is happening? Like why do they look like why are they in shock right now?
Yeah,
it was wonderful but awkward. All right, Clint, I got 2 questions. I know you're a busy man, and so we'll wrap up. First thing, I want you to plug anything and everything you have going on. The floor is yours. Plug and promote away, good sir.
Sick. Just came out with an EP with my band Void Dancer. It's called Sorrow from Self Undoing. It is out everywhere on the internet. I'm dropping. When does this come out, by the way?
This will be out November. Early November.
Oh, November?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. So in that case, I will have come out with a new single with my band Smearing called Domain Lapse. That will be everywhere by the time you hear this episode. So yeah, make sure you check out Smearing. New album coming really soon. And yeah, I'll just be playing a bunch of shows, chilling out for the holidays, starting a new job. So I'll let you know what's up with that. And then yeah, keep going to shows, supporting your local shit.
Hell yeah. All right. What kind of advice can you give the vocalists out there, whether it's a new vocalist wanting to pick up the mic and get after it, someone's been doing it for a little bit, or even a veteran that maybe they're in a rut? Like what kind of advice do you have for them?
Quit. Don't do it. There's too many bands. Stop.
Getting in a band's expensive.
There's too many bands. Dude, it fucking is. No, man. Do what you like for the right reasons. Don't do it for anybody else. Do it for yourself. Push yourself. Figure out what kind of band and artist you want to be and do that. I think it's really important to have attainable goals. Don't think that you're going to make it because none of us are going to make it. So you're going to die one day, and all you got left is the art you've left behind and the people that you've touched and the community that you've created. Make sure you're spending time doing the things that are important to you and expressing yourself in the way that you want to be remembered by and expressed by. But again, being in a band is a terrible idea. Go to school, make money, and then you can go see the world in a different way. But also have fun with your friends and enjoy being creative. I don't know.
I love it. That's so good. Clint, I appreciate you, man. It's been a long time. Thank you so much for your time. Thanks for coming on tonight. And dude, I'm stoked to hear the new song.
Hey, thank you, brother.
All right, man.
See you soon.
All right. Thank you all so much for watching or listening to this episode of Behind the Vocals featuring Clint Gee of Smearing. Please be sure to check out all the links down below to go show Clint's band some love, as well as keep an eye out for shows if you live in the area, new music coming out, and much, much more. Thank you all so much for watching or listening. I greatly, greatly appreciate it, and I'll catch you guys and gals on the next one.